I'm with the refreshed 2026 Kia Sportage this week, and earlier this year I drove the gasoline non-hybrid powered refreshed Hyundai Tucson. It's a direct brother to this vehicle. And unfortunately for the Tucson Gas, it did not rank well on my spreadsheet of all the cars I reviewed in 2025. Its powertrain was so abysmal that I despised driving it. This on paper has the exact same powertrain, but I will promise you I'm not going to come to the exact same conclusion as I did with that Tucson. So after we're done driving and reviewing this Kia Sportage, we're going to cross shop it, and this is not the, I'll just cut to the chase. This is not the Sportage I would buy. Underneath the hood of this top of the line gasoline powered X-Pro Kia Sportage, we have a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated engine. It has an 8-speed auto. The top of the line here is standard all-wheel drive. However, of course, on the lesser trims, you can get front-wheel drive. I'm seeing, depending on how much I idle this thing, but it's typically around 25 to 29 miles per gallon, where the hybrid would absolutely dust this thing. I would expect minimum of 30 to 35 miles per gallon on the hybrid. Again, minimum, and you can get the hybrid and front wheel drive too, to not only save money but also get better fuel economy. All right, so like I said, this is the exact same setup compared to the Tucson, but when we start driving it, there are some noticeable differences. For over $40,000, it does not have any shocks to prop up this heavy hood, just a little prop stick, and there's not a lot of padding inside the engine compartment, which, it's hit or miss for this class. Let's talk about this refreshed front end. Gone are the boomerangs. Now we kind of have the star map lighting. A lot of people are going to say, hey, it just looks like a Carnival now, or it looks like a Sorento. I don't mind it. I like this better than the boomerangs, but I'm sure there's a few boomerang homers out there that are going to miss that. I like the vertical LED headlights. The high beams are down below. This X-Line has these cool fog lights right here. Glossy black bits at the bottom. I really like this grille, and also kind of like, it's not a light bar, but this glossy bar that goes here to kind of frame the Kia logo. I think it's a really nice looking crossover from the front. All right, from the side, the Kia Sportage X-Pro has these cool 17-inch alloy wheels with these all-terrain tires. Only all-terrain tires you can get on this model is on this trim level. And in fact, this trim level, the X-Pro, is not available on the hybrid. A hybrid can get the X-Line, but those have really big wheels. All right, I like how thick and meaty these tires are. And while the front bumper had some glossy bits to it, we do have some more matte finishes with some accented glossy bits. I have smart key access here on the front doors. I like the glossy roof rails, the blacked out window surrounds, the cool, I mean, that's the thing that's bothered me with the Sportage in the past, is this would be a whole different trim color, and I like how it's all blacked out here to make it look more sleek. And we do have, I want to say it's about 8.7 inches of ground clearance. Rear taillights on the Sportage honestly look great. It doesn't have that light bar on the front or the back, but it does have that kind of light bar like bezel, which looks good. Getting the updated Kia logo. Sportage in black, but the smallest X-Pro badge. If this is going to be a range topper, you'd think you would have some sort of cool badge to it. Oh, this thing is like slightly bigger than or slightly smaller than my thumb. It is minuscule for a range topping badge. No exhaust tips really that you can see. You can get down low enough and you'll see one exhaust tip. See the rear independent suspension back there. Parking sensors all the way around. We have a 360 camera here. Let's go and lift this up. I was at Lowe's this morning. I picked up a window through the window in the back here. Just tons and tons of cargo space. Easy to fold down the seats from back here as well. I have one light on this side, 180 watt 12 volt on this side. Let's see here. Max load is 130 pounds for this floor. You could probably fit more. We also have, I mean, here's the thing. Max, let's test this out. Let's test it out. 130 pounds. I'm about, let's just say 200 pounds. So it feels a little flimsy once I start bouncing in it. But yeah, that's a bit conservative for Kia there. And then, yeah, we have a full diameter spare tire here, not full width, but hey, spare tires are hard to come by nowadays. All right, let's go ahead and get into the back. And this has been really good for taking my kids to school this week. there's a ton of legroom. And even though this has all-wheel drive, the drive hump isn't too big back here. I have vents in the back. I have USBs on the edge of the seats, mat pockets, a fold-down armrest as well. I do have a sunroof, a really big oversized sunroof here, handles above, LED lights, and this roof does open all the way up, and I haven't quite figured out how to not open one at a time. When I opened it all the way up, typically I accidentally open up the sunroof and the sunshade at the same time, but that's just user error, I'm sure. I would expect a little bit more from Kia here on this door quality at the top. Kind of this faux wood, which looks nice, and a nice soft armrest. Materials are nothing to write home about, but I mean, a little tablet, a phone holder here. Like, they have put a lot of thought into this back seat, and there's a lot of usability and a lot of space and utility, and that's going to be most important. Okay, so, like, we have easy access seats here, which is typically a luxury feature. It feels like a 4-cylinder idling, but it's pretty quiet at idle. I have two 12-inch screens here. You can see my Android Auto popped on right away. I have two USB-Cs up front, a wireless charger that doesn't work that great, to be honest. You know, I've had a pretty good time in the vehicle this week. Now, this X line has something weird, or should I say X Pro. It has like a Land Rover styled front windscreen here that has the heated filaments in it. So it always looks like you're driving with a screen in front of you, almost like you're looking out of a porch screen or a window screen. So it can be a bit distracting, and at night it can cause some blurring, I've noticed, or some blooming around headlights and taillights. Outside of that, living in here has been quite nice. This steering wheel, it's a bit squirkly, but I really enjoy it, to be honest. I love the dials on here for volume, preset buttons, radar, cruise, like everything's great here. You even have buttons here to go through snow, mud, and terrain, or sorry, snow, mud, and sand. And then on the other side is just your normal and sport, and then your custom mode here. I've just been driving in normal mode for the most part this week. All right, the usability in here is quite good. I love the traditional shifter. Unfortunately, I can move my cup back. Unfortunately, with the traditional shifter, it kind of gets in the way of your heated and ventilated seat buttons here, your steering wheel, heated steering wheel button, etc. But that's really a small gripe. I also have behind my shifter my camera button, which only operates like at 5 miles an hour and below, which is unacceptable for an off-road trim. So yeah, it's a bit of a miss. And Carline, it shuts off when I get to like 6 or 7 miles an hour, so that's a bit of a bummer. Auto brake hold is memory, which I'm very happy about. I do have memory seats on this side. I don't have auto dimming mirrors, so not only do I have some like weird blooming effect with this you know, wire heated windshield, like the window, like my mirrors, I'm blinded out of my mirrors all the time. This is a dumb rear view mirror. Like, not even my rear view mirror is auto dimming. That is a big miss for me. Here we go, we have a little light above for your vanity. And I don't see any like connections for your garage, which is definitely a miss. All right, this panel is hit or miss as well. Okay, as much as I love the steering wheel, it's honestly like a 10 out of 10 for me for usability. The stitching's a bit ugly, but it's super functional. This here is frustrating. You got to flip back and forth. If you got to beep boop your way back and forth, should I say, to get to your climate control. This knob is a dual knob, so it's volume right now for my audio, but you know, sometimes I'm in audio and I accidentally hit front defrost because it's super sensitive touch capacitive, and then I'm like, crap, I got to get out of that, get back to auto climate. Like, I guess it's easy, but it's still frustrating that you can easily make accidental pushes on this touch panel here. I want real buttons. I don't want touch panel malarkey. All right, that's the best word for it. It's okay. but I've had worse. It could all be through a touchscreen. At least I have some dedication here, but I still have to like, this little thing right here is way too small. And I know you can press and hold it down, and it does give me, right, what is my default. I prefer the default to be, oh man, this is tough because this is what I want. I hardly ever use this knob, so why can't I customize this knob for my overall universal climate control, and I can customize this one for my volume? No. They're like, this knob you're never going to use, but it is always dedicated for climate. So it's frustrating. And I guess technically it is a tuning knob, but I haven't used it once. So anyways, I'm not going to talk about the touch panel anymore. Comfort in here has been great. I don't have massaging seats, but these ventilated seats have been nice. Armrests have been pretty cozy. I have a little 12 volt in here. And the Harman Kardon sound system, I haven't tested it much. I'm listening mainly to podcasts, but I would say it's pretty decent, at least in that regard. No head-up display here. And let's go ahead and start driving the Kia Sportage. Is it better than the Tucson I drove? Yes, and let me tell you why. Just cruising along here in the Sportage, ride quality is, it exceeded my expectations. I don't know if much has been done to the suspension, but the 17-inch wheels here alone, like, there's a lot of sidewall, and with a lot of sidewall you get better ride quality, and it does handle well, surprisingly well. It feels really light on its feet. All right, so throwing this in the turns is great. Overall ride quality is great. It's overall really quiet. Like, you would think you would get tire noise from all-terrain tires. Nope, don't really have any of that. I don't have any obnoxious wind noises either, but I haven't driven this much on the highway, so I can't say for certain that it's quiet on the highway. I don't have acoustic glass, for example, that I know of. Let me just double check. Yep, single pane, but it is a very quiet car. I don't have automatic rear windows, just front windows. I sit pretty neutral in the car. I don't sit too high. I would always like to sit a little bit lower. I like sitting in low slung cars, but this is adequate for my height at 6'1", but I do have a short torso. Let's get into the brakes. The brakes here, well, there's a lot of travel, and the more people you put in here, the more you have to work the pedal. It is a serviceable braking setup. The car I was driving before this was a Volkswagen GTI. I got in this, I'm like, where are my brakes? But I acclimated to it pretty quickly. So after the first few minutes, I didn't have any issues with the brakes, but that might be an issue when you get in for the first time. Your brakes, there's a lot of travel to get you what you want. All right. So what we're going to do here is I have my drag meter. We're just going to pop on our hazards. That's an easy hazard to find. So we're going to torque brake. Good launch. And then it just kind of fumbles after that. And let's turn off the hazards. Gosh, so loud. Are we at 60 yet? Oh, there we go. Holy smokes. 9.9 seconds. All right, with the torque brake. So essentially this is a 10-second 0 to 60 car. And you might be saying, Kirk, you're in sport mode. Sport mode isn't going to do a darn thing except make this loud engine even more noisy. So compared to the Tucson of the exact same powertrain, the 0-60s are within margin of error. So why is this one better? Why is this vehicle better? Well, the Tucson locked all the power away until you got the last 10% of the pedal. That's not the case here. This drives more like you would expect a car with not a lot of power to drive. Like with medium presses of the throttle, it gives you what you want and what you expect. So I've been really happy with the programming of this transmission. There are times like when you're trying to power out of a turn and there's nothing there, and you do feel like this vehicle's really underpowered. Let's get in the brakes. Yeah, doesn't brake great, but it's fine. You really feel like this engine's underpowered as soon as I put my and like powering into a turn there. It's just not very good. But just going straight, keeping up with traffic, I haven't any issues. But once you load this car up with kids and their gear, like I typically can't notice in day-to-day driving. This car I can. So if you're planning to haul people other than yourself a lot in here, kids, a lot of extra things, like the car is already slow. It's going to get slower, and you can feel the difference when you put an extra 300 pounds in here. All right, which that's crazy to me, but it's noticeable. So it'll go from a 9.9 seconds 0 to 60 more like a 10.5. All right, and that's why, like, honestly, it's a better driving car than the Tucson. Okay, I will say that. The transmission logic is better, but the top end power is the same. All right, and while I love the tech in here, I don't like the panel. Like, this is not a perfect car by any means. I would say it's a very, very good car for most people's needs. However, the hybrid is infinitely better than this anemic powertrain. Way better. And you get better fuel economy, and it doesn't cost anymore because I already done my research. I've looked around in my area for deals, and the hybrids can be had for way less money than this gussied up soft rotor. All right, so let's go ahead and get back in the office and talk about this vehicle and put it on the spreadsheet. Are there good deals to be had? Yes, and please don't waste your money on this trim level. Even though, like, just go, if you have the extra money to burn, just go and get cheap wheels and bigger tires. The bigger tires are the sole reason why this has really good ride quality, I would say. Okay, it's a very soft ride. Gosh, and the power is just like kind of lurchy at times too. It feels like an awkward 12-year-old. Like, sometimes it gives you a deep voice, most of the time it's faking it. But you still don't have any musculature frame on you. Anyways, let's get into the office and let's talk about what this car can be had for in the hybrid, because I can't really recommend this gas model since there's a hybrid also already on the market. Let's look for deals on the good old Sportage in my area. Again, all right, let me specifically pull up the one. There's hardly any. So the car that I drove, the X-Pro Prestige, there's very, 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 very few out there. And in fact, the 42 grand one that I just drove, you can get for $37K. Even then, I wouldn't buy it. Okay, so here's my recommendation. If you want the Kia Sportage, look at the hybrid model. The hybrid is not slow, and it gives you better fuel economy, and it is not as loud, and it's just better in every way. Okay, so the Sportage hybrid here, now there aren't as many, but look, there's still deals to be had. If we look at the different trim levels, I think it goes S, and then EX and LX, and then SX. SX Prestige is the top of the line, then X line. So if I look at SX Prestige, which I believe this is the top of the line here, okay, wow, here's a leftover model, but let's look at 26s here just to make sure. We're seeing, again, a couple grand discount here, a couple grand discount here. So, like, would I be spending $40K on a Sportage hybrid? No. I think most people should be at the EX. The EX hybrid is probably the way to, or no, sorry, I take that back. The LX hybrid is where I would be putting my money. All right, around $30,000. The wheel design's fine on here, still has the cool lights. This is the way to go. Around $30,000. Let me just check. Lowest price. Guys, this would absolutely dust the $42,000 one I just drove in fuel economy and in acceleration and NVH. It's not even close, and you can get discounts on these. So the LX hybrid is the way to go. Would I pick it over a RAV4 hybrid? Maybe. If I'm just leasing, absolutely. Okay, the Toyota hybrids are typically more reliable, but they're also way too expensive. I mean, look at this. Yes, they hold their value better, but a base RAV4 hybrid at $35K, not worth it to me. Now, what's insane is that there are 1,500 CRV hybrids in my area versus 500 RAV4 hybrids. That's going to change when the RAV4 goes fully hybrid. And there are, let's take that off. There are 140 Sportage hybrids. So hardly any Sportage hybrids compared to the gas model. There are like 1,200 gas models. Yeah, right here. So if I look at the CRV, there's more CRV hybrids available in my area than Sportage gas models. That's crazy. And the deals that can be had, let's see here. I don't recommend the highest trim, like the Sport Touring on the CRV at all. But 37K, look, here's one for $5,000 off. CRV Sport Hybrid, great buy. Really, really good buy. 31K, 33K. So I'd pick this over a RAV4. I don't know if I'd pick this over the Sportage. I would have to drive them back to back. The Sportage Hybrid, that is. But this is also a really good buy. All right. So unfortunately, I'm driving the non-hybrid, which is way too expensive, way too loud, too slow, and just not good enough for the money. All right. So let's go over the pros and cons. I like how it looks. I like the tech. I like the comfort, the ride quality, the handling, the spaciousness. The cons: fuel economy is not great. It's not terrible, but when there's a hybrid available that can significantly improve this 25 mpg, I would be getting it. All right. It's loud and slow. The wired windshield on this model is obnoxious. I don't have auto dimming mirrors, which is just unacceptable for the price point. Not even a digital rear view mirror. Sorry, an auto dimming rear view mirror. It should be at least auto dimming rear view mirror. And there was no home link or garage door connections. In the frustrating touch panel. All right. So where is it? Is it as bad as, let me find it real quick, the Hyundai Tucson GAS? No, it's not as bad. It drives better. Kia's done something to the programming of the transmission. Oh, it's not a B. Sorry, it's not a C. It's a B. That makes this vehicle much more livable on a daily basis than the Hyundai. So let's go ahead and put it somewhere in a B category, with the run-of-the-mill everything else in B category. All right, it is mediocre, and that's fine. Mediocre is okay. All right, but do people want mediocre when they're spending 30, 40K on a crossover? I don't know. It depends on what's important to you. All right, but it's better than the Tucson GAS, that is for sure. So if you're cross-shopping this in a Tucson GAS model, get this. If you don't want a hybrid, I get it. For sure, if you don't want a hybrid, this is an okay car. The RAV4 GAS non-hybrid is a better car, though. If I go back up to, I made it up into here. Let me find the RAV4 GAS. Yes, it's surprisingly peppy, and it's much better accelerating than the car I drove today. So, and it got better fuel economy. It's something to think about. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more Kia updates. Let me know if you want me to review a specific Kia or a specific car on the channel. I'll try to update you guys. And if you want to check out my review on the Tucson GAS model, go ahead and check out that video around my face. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.